past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded by the light. I'm lost in the music, and I stay here for the night. I promise I'll be gone in the morning, out of sight and out of mind. Standing still. It's like you're stuck in a nightmare, but you keep doing it for the thrill. Well, this is reality, you only live it once, so wake up from your dream. But just for tonight, let the lines get blurred, let your thoughts be free, let your thoughts be free.
Hello and welcome back for a final 2022-2023 season review live stream with myself and this guy over here.
Come on, Jace. Man United lost the final.
I'm trying to get the enthusiasm up. 1 second.
Man United lost the FA Cup final. It was inevitable, wasn't it? I mean, the
Why
performance
do you bother
was terrible.
streaming
But
if you don't enjoy it?
what was that?
What?
What did you say?
I said, why do you bother streaming if you don't enjoy it?
Who says that?
No, no one said that. Just preempting it. Yeah. Small game today, wasn't it? Really, nothing serious.
I didn't watch it, to be honest. I watched.
I did.
The second, well, about 30 minutes of the second half.
I watched enough of it.
Till when? What
All
minute
the way
did
through.
you? Oh, you watched the whole game?
Yeah.
That bad?
I really wish, like, I could watch Man United give a crap. Yeah, it was just very disappointing. Very, very, very disappointing. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think Mark Goldbridge summed it up. You got 11 on the field, multi-millionaires on the field that have absolutely no reason to play out. Like, no reason to bust a gut and to pull out a performance against. Like, if you think of like Brentford when they got the result against City, they pulled out a performance. Like, if you are playing against Man City, you know, the best team in arguably the world, certainly in England, you've got to pull out a performance. You can't literally go toe to toe with them. You've got to be more aggressive. You've got to have more fire in your heart. Man United were not aggressive. Eriksen, he was like a paper towel blown in the wind. Very slow paper towel blown in the wind. Wasn't able to do anything. Bruno Fernandes was just running around like a headless chicken, trying his best to close down the City back line. No avail. Marcus Rashford was relatively quiet majority of the game, frustrated that he wasn't getting any service. And Jadon Sancho, unfortunately, once again showed no... he had one run into the box where he could have done a bit more. Well, it's the final product. I mean, the final... They had no ideas. They had no ideas. I mean, the penalty that we got awarded in the first half was incredibly lucky. And Jack Grealish's got every right to be a little bit annoyed about, because he had absolutely no idea. He had absolutely no idea where the ball was going. The goal. Man City were not, and I'm just gonna basically agree with Mark Goldbridge. Man City were not at their best today. They didn't need to be at their best. They didn't need to be at their best. They just needed to put in strong. They won. I don't know what the stats are, but by watching the game, it's almost like they won at least 75% of all 50-50s. Like, two players come together. Haaland was to be fair, they kept Haaland quiet, but it wasn't Haaland. This is the thing with Man City. It's not like people harp on about Haaland. It's not just Haaland. I mean, they've got a plethora of goal scorers in that squad. Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan, just to name two. Bernardo Silva. They're all capable. Even Rodri, they're all capable of getting the goals. And today, you can blame Christian Eriksen for not tracking back. He didn't follow his man. But after 12 seconds, you're letting Gundogan essentially acres of space outside the box. The ball breaks to him brilliantly. Haaland, one of the best bits of play he did all day, in terms of knocking that ball down. I mean, David De Gea unable to react to it. No goalkeeper would have saved that. No chance. I mean, it was just a world-class finish. The only way you'd save that is if you knew in advance where it was going. That's the only way you'd save it. The second goal, yes, there's been question marks on David De Gea. I've seen it a couple of times. I turned it off. Once the game finished, I turned it off. I didn't want to watch Man City celebrating. But De Gea possibly could have done more, but you can't blame it on David. I mean, United did not want... They didn't play like they were up for it today. They didn't play like they were... I don't even think they gave 100%. Like, Weghorst, when he came on, bless his soul. I mean, he's not a Premier League footballer, but at least he puts in... He tries his best. He puts in the effort. But, when you look at the bench and you've got Weghorst... I mean, Garnacho was exciting. He came on, he was exciting. I have to admit. He always is exciting. I like Garnacho. And... he's a bright, it's a bright future for him, I think. But yeah, when you look at the bench and you think, oh my God, Scott McTominay, Weghorst, oh my God, Palestri would have been more positive, I thought. Just bring Palestri on for Sancho. Garnacho on the left. Fred had a decent game. I mean, I could talk about it for hours. I mean, it's just disappointing. But I said to my wife as soon as before the game kicked off, I said to my wife, "We're probably going to lose. Man City are the favourites, but I don't mind watching Man United lose." And I think everyone's the same in the chat. I don't mind watching my team lose as long as they've battled. As long as they've really put a shift in and there's blood, sweat and tears into the performance. But when they're literally just out of ideas, passing it around. I mean, it felt like half the team was pressing and half the team was... It was really weird, actually. Because it would like Rashford, Bruno, Eriksen and Sancho would press. But then there would be a gap. Like the whole team wouldn't press it wouldn't press as a team. They pressed as a little groups, and Man City just saw it coming and they just passed around it, and it was just like, oh god, this is amateur hour. It was really amateur. If you're gonna go press, you need to press. If you half-arse it, you're just creating massive space. I've locked my wife out, so give me a moment. Can you read the chat for a moment, Steve? I'll be right back. I've locked my wife out the house.
I could tell a story. It's one foot in the grave, and for me it was just Steve. Good. Chat Sport, Matthew Zaishi, Bilal, Nuclear Atoms. Bilal, thank you very much for. He was the individual that time-stamped everything, and also for anybody that gives a shit, I uploaded a few videos from a Gameweek 31 from 4 years ago. It was fascinating seeing some regular faces that are still with us today, and Bilal was mentioned in that stream. It was with Davey FPL. It was a very interesting watch from my own personal perspective. Fire Talker, good afternoon. Nuclear Atoms, John Davidson's here. I see Dan's here. Dan, if you want to come on for the final stream of the year, by all means jump into the Discord and we can just have a chat. Matt Smith, good afternoon. Steve Amused. Steve Amused, yes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We've caught up with everything. We're all rolling and running, and yeah, that game. I mean, I was more when the match final whistle ended, and you see Weghorst looking absolutely dejected. I'm thinking, on a minute here, mate. You're probably more dejected at the fact that you're never going to play in the Premier League again. That's how it seemed to me, because he ain't going to be playing for Burnley. He ain't going to be playing for Man United. He's going to go back to wherever he comes from. And I just felt it was embarrassing, him just lying there, just looking like he's about to cry. It's like, dude, you're earning God knows how many tens of thousands of pounds a week. You've come on for 20 minutes or whatever it was. Like Jason said, and all Man United fans say, at the end of the day, have we been offline?
No.
Uh-oh.
No, I accidentally... When I got up, I must have knocked the wrong button and it went to the blank screen.
Right, okay. Hopefully people actually heard what I was saying. But yeah...
they missed a bit of you talking about what chat was saying, but not what you're saying about...
It doesn't matter. I just found it just embarrassing. In the sense of, you've got a team that's worth millions upon millions upon millions versus a team who, just like you said, just don't care. It's almost like it's really difficult to explain.
They're
It just,
multimillionaires. They've got everything they need. They've got a life of luxury, and they're complacent with just being. What I don't know if I can use the phrase. Is it the right phrase? I mean, bit part players. Is that the right word? A bit part player? I'm sure that's a phrase.
well, let's just put it this way: when Mark, because I was listening into the United stand, in fact, I listened to that more than I actually watched the match because I can't miss out on this Sun.
That's
but anyway,
it. Bit part players. That's the one.
yeah,
Sportsmen and women who make small contributions to the team. Yeah. But they're
Yeah,
but not big contributions. They all make a small contribution, but they don't make an over. They don't really all come together and make a large contribution.
well, it's like they say about today's society. People don't understand how easy you've got it. You know, I always refer to talk about wrestling. How 20 years ago you had to earn your stripes to become a wrestler. Nowadays, it's you still have to do the same thing, but the facilities that you actually have are of such high-end quality that it's just a lot easier.
You know,
Same in the gym world. The gym world used to be 20 years ago, your brick and mortar, rusty dumbbells, basic equipment. Now there's and there was hardly any gyms around. Now,
hang on a second.
where I live alone, there's 4 pure gyms, just where I live alone. Admittedly, it's a commercial gym, but it's so easy to access now. Gyms and everything's. Whereas with footballers, especially that Man United team, the only player that I find that shows some form of heart, in my opinion, is Garnacho and De Gea.
Yeah.
De Gea got some passion about him. Garnacho, genuinely, I love the fact that he just walked past Prince William.
Yeah, Garnacho's. I think he's got the right attitude. I do think he's got the right, and I hope it's not. I hope that he's not led down the same path as previous youngsters that have just fizzled into nothing at United. I hope Ten Hag really develops him as a player, because I can see him moving on. Like if he's not given the minutes that I think he's deserved, like why play Sancho over him in the first place, I do not know. Anyway, but that's a different conversation. This is not about Man United. This is about the season that's just gone. But again, I just to cap it off, to finish it off, I just want to quickly mention, shout out to John Harris in the chat, watching from hospital bed as I've done my back in. John, as someone myself that suffers from back sciatic pain, I can understand the absolute excruciating pain that you may be in, and I'm sorry to hear about that, buddy. I hope you get better soon. Thank you for all the support you continue to give us, along with all the members that do give us the support. But I just want to finish it all off by saying it's a shame for the fans, really. The fans that went out and paid all that money and went all the way down to London to watch them. You know, you think that you put out a performance, win or lose. You know, win, lose or draw, just put out a performance. That's what you want to see. I was listening to Diaz from Man City on Talk Sport, driving back home after dropping. That's why my wife was out down the park with my little one. I was listening to Ruben Diaz doing an interview with Talk Sport, and he turned around and said, we weren't really interested in the fact that it was Man United or it was a rivalry or anything like that. We just want it for ourselves. And I thought, but the fans are. To the fans, it's everything. The rivalry is everything. But anyway, enough of that. Hello to Fire Talk. Hello, John. Hello, Amanda Dillon. We've got Terry Dawson there too. We got. I saw West Ham's clips in the channel as well. Hello to you. West Ham latest clips. We've got Podner there. Bilal's there. Matthias there too. Chat Sports there. Dan's there, like you mentioned a minute ago. It was United tried. You're joking, Dan. What game were you watching? I have no idea. FPL Sparta's there. John Davidson's in the chat. Nuclear Atoms is there. Anyway, you've said hello to the people. They didn't hear you say it. Congratulations, Steve-O, for beating me in our little rivalry. Not going to hurt. I'm a bit salty about it. But
Have you actually, in all seriousness, have you actually watched the stream back at all? Did you
Mm,
watch the highlight
no,
package I
no,
put
no,
together?
no.
Because it does.
No. That's
Have
PTSD,
you
man.
have you reflected on it at all? Just looking at it and just thinking now, like it's just incredible what we do for this community in the sense of at the time it's like we're
I left
genuinely
that
fucked
thinking,
off, and now
why would anyone watch this garbage?
really,
Because like, no, not because of the great guests that we had on, not because obviously you doing a great job of relaying information, and I was just basically just I was just a very I wasn't very happy. So I don't know. I don't think it was very good. I think people would be like, you just need to like, oh, Jason's all easy to give it, but when it's bad things happen to him, he's not. And I literally was just like, the fact that Firmino played, was it 57 minutes? Like, that was just like an arrow through my heart, man. And like, I just literally just felt like I just want to go. And you felt like that in the past. You have. It's torture.
I literally did go on
It's
one
torture.
stream.
It is torture. And of course, Salah popped up, didn't he? Got his goal. Was it an assist? It was an assist.
It was an assist. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I just want to get out of here. And yeah, I incidentally that weekend as well, I had friends staying over at ours, and they were in the garden, and they were like chatting. I could hear them, and I was like, you know what? What am I doing here? You know, and I'm here because I'm here for the community, but at the same time, my mental health, like I could feel myself just getting, I've always said to people, didn't I? I've always said, and I should practice what I preach. I've always said, when FPL does that to you, you need to stop, or you need to get out of that and go outside. And I'll say that to anyone in the chat now. If anyone has a bad experience with FPL, you need to take a break. Go, just leave it, go outside, do something else. Take your mind, just get your mind off of it. I had to do that. Like, just mental, like, it ruins your weekend. It ruins your whole weekend. You're in a bad mood. If you don't break away from it, it just takes too much out of it. And it was the fact that we went down to the final game week, and yes, there was a bit of a points gap between us, but it was doable. It was doable. Like, we were literally neck and neck at the first quarter of that stream. We were neck and neck, and I genuinely thought that the last game week I could pip you. And I was like, you were going, oh yeah, you're ahead of me now. And I'm like, Steve-O, it's really early days, but you were like, you kept kind of mentioning it. I was like, shut up, Steve-O. And then obviously it all fell apart. But yeah, just I guess if anyone wanted proof to like understand how much we really want to beat each other, just watch that stream, watch that reaction. It was just, I felt sick. It wasn't nice at all, and I wasn't nice to be around, to be honest. That's why it was probably for the best that I wasn't there to see it through. But I'll be honest with you, I was watching it on my phone. I was getting the barbecue ready, and I did have it on my phone. I was like, just to think. Well, I had to keep the stream going anyway, didn't I? I had to keep it going. But anyway, season 2022-2023, Steve-O. It's been I tweeted out that this is not one of my most enjoyable seasons playing the game. I don't know if I can put my finger on exactly the reason for it. It's been a weird season. Yeah, go for it.
Maybe because, I mean, it's up to you if you want to divulge. I'm not willing to do it on your behalf, but I think maybe, same for me, real life issues coming into play. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stress. I've had a lot of stresses. And I mean, everyone has stresses. Everyone has real life and stuff. But, you know, for me, I think, like, ironically, it's been the most exciting in terms of our rivalry. It's been probably the most exciting from that standpoint. But I've just not found it that enjoyable, and I don't know why. And I hope next season I can just refresh. And I don't know if the World Cup was anything to do with it. the structure of the Premier League and the way that I don't know. I don't know. But what about you? Did you find it enjoyable?
Not, it was an odd one this season because I found that the quote template players did so well, and if we'd all, like me, you, and whoever
I don't
else,
think the
decided,
differentials. Sorry to butt in, but I don't think the differentials really were there, were they?
no, this is my point. It was just the template players seemed to have done so well that if you'd have jumped on them pretty much at the right time, even someone like Wilson in the last few game weeks, it's quite a lot of people jumped on him and Isaac, to be fair. But if you did go down that route of I'd rather go Wilson instead of Isaac, you know, he was heavily owned, and I don't know, there wasn't, like you say, there wasn't many.
But Isaac was looking really good, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But Wilson was playing up front, like literally was the centre forward. And, you know, a lot of talk is about variance this season and the fact that, look, if it wasn't for the fact that the ball wasn't kicked out, Wilson would have been substituted in that game against Leeds and Isaac would have took the penalty, as a simple example.
I'm going to ask you a question. How much, to be a successful FPL manager, how much of it is to deal with the noise and to deal with your own mental health? Well,
I mean, our man Dylan has said here, whether he sticks to it or not, I have no idea, but he says here that, if I can bloody find it, which I've completely lost. He basically said, next season, I'm not going to be listening to any other pods other than Elite FPL. And maybe one other.
We'll get you to the top 100, mate. Don't you worry. James L has come up with something here. It says, James L in the chat, it's too easy to feel sorry for yourself with FPL by looking at everything that goes against you. I've started only looking at things that go in your favour and looking at it all that way less. It's easy to say that, but when you've got mini league rivalries and you are looking at your rivals, you are looking at who's above you, you are looking about who's chasing you. You maybe when it comes to the latter stages of the season, and you are trying to strategize and you are trying to get differentials in, that one or two player differential is massive. And if it doesn't come through for you, man, it like I said, it sucks. It really does suck. But
well, you look at Wilson, what he did for you in that double game.
Oh, stop going on about Wilson, man. That's one example. You had,
was it 2 goals and an assist in that one game, and you just sat there streaming. You just like, who did they beat? Was it Brighton they beat 4-1 or something? I can't even remember. And Wilson got the 2 goals and the assist, and I'm just sat there like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is going on? And it did feel that, well, it proved to be that you were catching until literally.
Yeah, because at one point it was like there was a fair big gap, wasn't there, between? But I managed to 4-1. It was Brighton 4-1. Yeah.
But I mean, going back to what you were saying about regarding blocking out the noise and stuff, and I was listening to the Planet FPL collaboration with Fantasy Football Hub regarding Sky Fantasy Football. And it genuinely was a fascinating subject matter regarding speaking to the winner of this year's game, the winner of last year's game, and his name's Fergie. He's also of the Green Arrow podcast. And they were talking about the differences between Sky and FPL. And I'm actually seriously considering playing Sky next season. I think me and you could probably set something up.
Why is that? I just didn't find it. I think I started it a couple of seasons ago, Sky Fantasy, and I just I think it's because everyone was so focused on FPL. You get carried away with the FPL game really. But the Sky game for me, I just lost interest in it.
But that's because of what you just said. You're more focused on fantasy football. They were saying with Sky, it rewards skill. Fantasy football FPL doesn't reward skill. I mean, obviously it does, but things like they were talking. It was genuinely a fascinating conversation. They were talking about the whole leaks, because in FPL, if you get the leaks and everything, you've got that advantage over your rival. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you were asleep on the deadline.
Yeah, if
and
you
I've
or
got
you
the
live in
information
live in Australia or
Yeah,
Indonesia
and
or
it's,
America or something.
oh, Haaland isn't starting. Right, okay, I'll captain the next popular captain pick. And not only that, but I'll get rid of Haaland for Kane or whatever. Whereas in Sky, you've got literally until the deadline, until the first kickoff to make your decision. And a lot of it is down to planning with Sky and focusing on, because obviously with Sky you could pick
So you're
11
saying
from the
you're
same
saying
team.
that it's better because you've got all the information ahead of you.
Yes.
So you're not having so you're not waiting for leaks. Yeah.
Which
I actually
found
why did they why can't the FPL game be like that?
I think they will be next year. I think that's what they're going to be doing next year.
Because there will always be leaks.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how far back. I mean, how far back do you want to go? 6 hours before the deadline? I mean, before the game kicks off? I mean, there'll always be leaks of some description. And someone's going to have the advantage of that. That makes complete sense, having the lineups out for everyone to see. I mean, if you're interested in football, you're going to watch the football. Chances are, no matter where you are in the world, you are going to be around to see the lineups or of the first game. Chances are. I mean, and the information's there for you to see. And there's
Well, this is it. I think next season FPL will be putting it to the literally the first kickoff. I think that's what they'll be doing, to give everybody a fair advantage, even though it's not an advantage, to have a fair crack at the game.
Mateus says in the chat, isn't the issue with FPL deadline updating the amount of data? I'm always Steph. I mean, at the end of the day, they can invest in a better infrastructure. I mean, they've been running on the same clunky server infrastructure for years now. I know it's not a paid game, but there's enough interest in FPL that that they can afford to probably invest in that. I think ultimately, if they don't start doing stuff like that, then the likes of Sky and other games will eventually outgrow them, because people will get annoyed. And not only that, there's not changed much about the game. Like, the game is stagnated over the last few seasons. We need more chips. We need different chips. We need to. You mentioned skill, Steve-O. Skill. Yeah, it's a low. There's a lot of low skill players that do well in FPL because of following content creators. They just follow the sheep, right?
Well, that's actually something that they brought up. The amount of content that's available, whether it is podcast, YouTube, deadline streams, same difference. And how many of these people are literally just going, oh, see, Harry's doing well. What's he doing? Rashford out for McGinn. I'll just do it. Done. And because Harry touches everything to gold, McGinn comes through. But not only has he done that move, many hundreds of other people have done it because they're copying him. And then it just goes on and on and on. And like I say, there's nothing. If you want to copy someone, crack on. Do whatever you bloody want to do. But I want to be like you, rewarded with my own pick. And
I think that's what we all want. We all want that. I mean, just as much as you kick yourself when your decisions go against you, you want to have the rewards of, making calculated decisions and timing your moves in the game. And I think a lot of people that have done well this year, and I don't care what people think, but just my opinion is, a lot of people that have done well this year have been on autopilot and they've just gone with a template. So Steve-O, are you there?
Yeah, I'll just deliberately turn the camera.
Oh, right, okay, cool. I think a lot of people that have done decently well this season have just basically gone with the crowd, and that's fine. That's a strategy in itself, I guess. But
this is what I'm saying about the template. The template. I mean, Harbour Boy did an experiment this year regarding a sheep team, and it actually did really, really well. Like, there was one point, it was 70,000th or something, quite recently. And due to varying factors, he couldn't do the transfers that were required because they didn't have the funds and all this. But the point being is that it was doing really well, just literally copying what the template was doing. And whatever the transfers people were bringing in, he would just go, that's the transfer we're doing. Oh,
Yeah.
they're all predominantly doing the chip this weekend. Let's play the triple captaincy chip now. You know, there are a few managers out there, like you take Andy Martin as a prime example, friend of the show, where he literally goes against the template and actually is proven right a lot of the time. It's just tiny various factors that go against him. Benchings, as a simple example, you can't equate for the X player being benched, even though he's banking on that individual to play. He's actually very, very good at predicting certain players going to be playing and when they're not, and so on and so forth. I mean, he played his triple captainship on Fernandes.
Yeah.
And it blew him up the ranking systems on game week 37. As a simple example. Whereas most people played the chip either game week 36 or whatever other double game week there was.
What's your opinion? Like, because you said about the deadlines being changed for FPL would be a benefit. For your opinion, to make it, like, are you kind of feeling the same way as I am that FPL could do with a bit of freshness, a bit of something new to spice it up a little bit next year?
Yeah.
What one thing would you like to see other than the deadlines? Is it a chip, a different chip to be introduced?
No, it will never happen. And James bangs on about this every single week on his podcast, and it's change the pricing. Make the pricing realistic. Like Haaland, you cannot be putting him at 14 million next year. He's got to be 15 million plus. Same as Trent Alexander at 8 million. They won't do it.
I'm hoping next season. I really am hoping next season we start, like, we'll get some signings into the Premier League that excite people, and it'll make people go, oh, you know, or like Chelsea have a good pre-season or something under pot, and it's like, oh, maybe Chelsea, let's get on Chelsea. Like, honestly, Liverpool. I don't want to see Liverpool do well, but like, you know what I'm trying to say. Oh, Tottenham, there's a couple of assets there, or like people start to think, oh, there's been some good signings this transfer window. Let's move away. Let's try and look at some of these like bargains. Like, yeah, teams that have been promoted into the Premier League, like Burnley. A lot of people saying like, oh, I'm interested in these teams, but it all comes down to one thing, Steve-O. Begins with F. Fixtures. They're all waiting for the fixtures. That's the next thing that's going to come out before they make a decision on what they're going to do. And then before you know it, you'll have content creators that's basically doing their transfer plans based on the fixtures, and the teams to watch based on the fixtures. But like, what I would love is just to have like a larger pool of players to choose from that are reliable enough to compete with each other points wise. Like that is where the real skill comes in, of being able to identify the player that is.
Although, to counter that, most top players or most players, the reason why they're priced that they are is because they're consistent with their points. Like, they always use the example of, are you really going to be choosing Kante over Rashford? They're both in midfield, but Kante gets points for defensive tackles or whatever. The answer is no.
Would you like to see FPL get rewards? Would you like to see the points structure slightly changed for FPL?
I think everything about the game's fine. I just think it's just the pricing is just so bad.
Because I know that one of the complaints that we've got is that it's a very small pool of players. Like, out of all the players in the Premier League, I mean, probably only about 25, 30 players are constantly picked.
Yeah.
You know, is that enough players? Can we not open it up a bit more and say, like, right, for defensive midfielders, we can bring them in based on how many tackles, how many how many dispossessions and things like you can give them points in the game. I'm not talking bonus points. I'm talking actual points. Because like if you think about it, yes, it could start getting a bit silly, and you could end up having ridiculous variables. And for the casual, it may not be a casual game. It is a casual game, isn't it? That's the thing. This
is it. Like, certainly the game itself, the way it markets, especially on Twitter, it's beyond parody. On Twitter, it's beyond parody. It's trying to engage and trying to get out. I think to be as popular as possible. And
I think what I just described would be something like a premium version of FPL, like an FPL that's they tried doing it. a premium, didn't they? A paid
Ultimate.
That's it. And I think that if they were to do enhanced scoring, where you had much more variables with what points you could get, I think that would be sort of the system where hardcore FPL managers could literally analyze every aspect of a player's game. Like who are the informed defensive midfielders? Who are the informed centre back? Yeah, I know that defenders get points for clean sheet, but goal line clearance, Devo, a goal line clearance, that's like a goal. That's like a goal, isn't it? You've essentially saved a goal, or a goalkeeper that's made literally a world class save. I'm not. I mean, it might not be something that people would be interested in, but again, mixing things up. But essentially, I'm hoping that next season I've got this newfound passion. I think I just need a break. I do need the break. And Podden was saying, why do you play FPL? For fun, social, competitional football. I don't think I play it for fun. I think I play it for the competition.
Well, I mean, Matt Smith saying FPL should be an escapism from the stresses of real life. I used to be obsessed. I came 606th one year, but the day the season finished, who actually cared? I had differentials all season this year and came 1 million plus, but I had fun. I mean, Podner's very similar to that, isn't he? He goes with... And you and him were virtually arguing on stream, which was a great conversation about, he's saying I'm picking Martial as an example, and he had his reasons, and me and you were just going, nah, you should get Rashford. Get Rashford, Fernando, sure. Go with the template. And it's such a... FPL, it's always been like this. It's been such a... almost like this same thought process, especially when you've got your head switched on when it comes to football and everything. And it's like, well, play it simple. I mean, one of the lessons that I've learned this year, and I never stick to it, is just play it simple, but I never do. I always go, for whatever reason, I always go against the rule, which is go with template. And then
John Harris hit the nail on the head. And in fact, I can agree with him. This season, I was only ever cheering on 2 or 3 players in my team. Any given game week, which is, because everyone else is like Trippier, for example. I mean, it's like it was like you go through the team, and it's like, oh, you've got him, oh, you got him, oh, yeah, you got him. Oh, okay, so I've got like 3 players different to the person above me and above me. I'm like, right, so really, again, goes back to this whole thing about the diversity in players that you can select is so important in FPL, and like. Not just to keep interest, Steve-O, but to give people the belief that they can come back from the dead. Because there's no way of coming back from the dead if the template rules king. You don't want the template to rule king. And previous years, it hasn't always ruled king.
The reason why template is there is because they're the most consistent point scorers.
Yes.
To take a chance on... I don't know, a particular individual.
But previous seasons, you've had outliers, haven't you? You've had some real bargains. Yeah, but I think this season has been a bit dull in that aspect.
Well, it didn't help the fact that Haaland was captain for 36 games out of 38.
Yeah.
That doesn't help. Yeah, and again, we go back to Andy Martin. He made the point about not having Haaland for the last 5 game weeks. He went against him.
It sounds really bad, but the best thing to happen would Haaland to be injured for half a season. I know it sounds horrible, but it would have been interesting.
Well, yeah, and then people would have just jumped on Kane. That's the problem. But then again, we go back to it. Haaland next season needs to be priced at 15 plus. He's got to. He has to, and Kane needs to be a minimum of 13.
Brew here, look, Brew. He famously threw in the towel.
Him and Fire Talk.
Yeah, and again, Haaland, not having Haaland ruined me. He said it was like if you didn't have Haaland, like he said, first 5 game weeks, or if you were like, because you get people that don't have the player that hauls, and what do? They double down, don't they? They're like, Nah, not getting him in. He hauls again. Right, I've missed his points. I'm not getting him in. He's hauled again. Like, and then at that point, you're almost like you're just like you're almost spiting yourself, aren't you? You're like, no, and you create this thing, and you get stubborn. You get very stubborn about it. Not necessarily, but people do. I know I have in the past. Well, I've missed out on a player's with points, and I'm like, oh, well, it's too late now. I'm not getting him in, and then I'll get a bit justify every reason not to bring him in. But nice to see you, Brew, in the chat. All the moderators, shout out to all the moderators that have kept the Discord, and we don't get any idiots coming in to the YouTube, but every now and again we do get an idiot jump into the Discord. But yeah, should we talk about the mini league, Stevie?
Yeah, go for it. Obviously, I've got thanks to Gabriel de Rop, I've got a list in front of me of who won everything, but I think Jason can easily just quickly go through of the main.
Well, you want to just do that while I log into FPL?
Yeah, so Jason will just quickly go through the main leagues that we were part of, but I'm going to now read out the winners of the various Elite FPL competitions that took place all season. And some of them I care about, some of them I don't have a clue what they are, but I'm going to read them out anyway. And like I say, congratulations to anybody that actually participated in these particular tournaments, because I know that the likes of Gabriel de Rop and Firetop do put a lot of work into all of this.
What league are you going to start with?
So I think just start with whatever league comes top of yours. I think
Mod league.
Maybe just quickly start with the moderator league, and then
moderator league. Go on then, Steve.
Well, we had Harbour Boy winning it eventually. The moderator league obviously was a very tense competition over the past 8 game weeks. The last 8 game weeks was really, really fascinating, and Harbour Boy won it by 8 points.
What? Blonde was ahead of me going into this week. I don't know what she did. I have to look into her team and find out what she did.
Well, Blonde, since her wild card, she just dropped off a cliff.
Oh.
Whereas Armand Dillon, who came second, he, thanks to Harry Kane on the final day and obviously having his bench boost on the final day, just about got him over the line for second, finishing 19 points ahead of me.
Dillon, yeah.
And then obviously me finishing about 23 points ahead of you. You ending up 5 points ahead of Dread. And then there's Blonde. And Blonde was doing exceptionally well this year. And Harbour Boy just kind of played it safe the last 5-6 game weeks. Again, we go back to it, don't we, with the templates.
Captain Kane.
Yeah. I even looked at it, like if I'd have just Captain Kane, I'd be 11 points better off. I'd still be third, but I'd be second in the Torbay Elite as a simple example.
Right. Where did you finish third in Torbay Elite?
4th.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think it was 4th in the end by 1 point. No, in fact, I was joint points with Daniel Benson, 2477.
Right. What's the shouts? What's going on there? Anyway, so do you want to go? Let's go into the YouTube chat league. The YouTube chat league was ridiculous. Mark Byrne eventually winning it. Hey, Alex, follow.
Hey, Alex, good afternoon. Mark Byrne eventually winning it, ending up 6 points clear of John. This was a league, actually, wasn't it, where you looked at each team and you were like, differentials. No. Oh, there's one. It was like literally just a player in it. You had Mark Byrne winning it, John Harris, Seb Long, who was top for a lot of the season, ending up third. Michael Swedding ending up fourth. And for anybody that doesn't know, I'll probably be for next season with this YouTube chat league. What I'll be doing is Whoever came in the top 10 this year, so Mark Byrne, John Harris, Seb Long, Michael Svedin, Jordan, Brendan Saunders, Brian Tavares, Michael Zaishi, Ollie Bale, and Jordan Brennan, they're going to get automatically put into next year, whether they were active or not. Now, I know for a fact there's a few in there that I've never even seen in the YouTube chat. Everybody else I'll be going through, and if I don't recognize their name and I don't feel that they were active during this season in the YouTube chat,
you're the administrator of that league.
Yeah.
Cool.
They'll be removed, and then I'll be going through a couple of streams just to check to see regular contributors that I would recognize over this past year. And don't get me wrong, the majority of people in this particular league are part of the YouTube chat on a regular basis. Like I'm looking here as a simple example, Gary Hallowell that ended up 27th. He's a regular contributor. That's just one simple example. But there are a few there which I'm like, I haven't seen you all season, and it just goes on and on and on. But there will be others that will be replacing them where I'm like, well, that guy there, he was participating every single week during the 3 p.m. streams and everything. So it's just a way of rewarding those individuals that are continuously chatting within the 3 p.m. kickoffs and obviously during our streams now and everything. But that league was just ludicrous. I mean, Top Spot Mark, he an individual who always comments on our videos afterwards and was always watching on the bleed, ended up on 23,525th. Had an absolute stormer of a season. So
consistent throughout the whole season.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, you even use this terminology in the Gameweek 31 from 3 years ago that I watched, which was, these people are freaks of natures. And they're just freaks of nature where they stick to, again, we go back to that word template. They stick to that template, and it's the odd player here or there, which they slightly change up from that template, or they'll double up on, say, Newcastle defence, whereas some people haven't. They haven't got the double defence and so on and so forth. But as we kept going through these leagues, you kept seeing a same pattern of like, who are the differentials in that team? Oh, there is none. Even on the final day, you were saying like, Harry Kane captain. Has anybody not captain Harry Kane? It was very difficult to find that differential. But again, we go back to it where it's what it just proves that going differential isn't the right way about playing this game.
No.
So
I mean, going differential is essentially going risk on, and it shouldn't have to be like, but it's just the way that the majority goes with a template. If you put your head above the parapet and try something different, then chances are you're gonna fail. So
so in fact, just here, Kick Your Ass TV says, can I join your YouTube league next season? Yeah, because you're a regular contributor to the chat. As
John
a
Harris,
simple example.
Yeah, John Harris is in the chat. Let's bring him up. He came second in that league, in the YouTube chat league.
Yeah, so it's all it was all very, very tight in that. We then move on to the members league. I mean, Harry FPL Tips, we all know how well he done. 510th he ended up.
He's just
overall.
Yeah, I mean that's ridiculous. It's again, we talk about staying at that height for almost 2/3 of the season, right? He was up there. Just incredible.
I mean, I'm just going to quickly check on his the highest position he ever had. I think he was 200 and 202nd in game week 32.
I've got a feeling.
Highest rank.
I've got a feeling next year's going to be my year.
Okay. And also, maybe without going off topic, I'm really genuinely excited for next season because obviously you've got a few ideas in the bag, haven't you? And obviously my circumstances regarding work are changing. I'm not going to go into detail yet. But
yeah. I think that Yeah, we're gonna change a few things, but I mean, Sky sounds interesting. It's if I stick at Sky, it's like me going to the gym. It's whether I stick at it, and I need my gym buddy. So if you stick at it, we may be gym buddies in the Sky Fantasy Football game.
Yes.
Because you need someone. Like for me anyway, I don't speak for everyone else, but for me I need to have something or someone else to keep me interested in it. So maybe we can add our rivalry to that game as well. It'd be interesting.
Well, this is it. I think for me, if you're happy to do Sky, I'll definitely do it, and we'll just have like a mini league between me and you only. Because just to get a general idea, because I'd rather that than, and no disrespect, to have some freak of nature join in like 3 or 4, and we're just like bottom. We're just like, oh, this is just crap. It may be like virtual FPL in a way. You know, it may be like, you know, it's a completely brand new game. We don't know what we're doing, but we'll just go with the flow and see how it goes. Obviously, FPL will be our main focus point, but I mean, could you imagine if we won it? I mean, it's impossible. It's not necessarily impossible.
It's not impossible, but it's like if we won it, then we've always been here, baby. Where have you been?
I think from our point of view, it would be genuinely really nice if one of me or you actually did really well at the FPL game itself.
We'd never get
we're
invited.
okay.
We'd
We're
never
average
get invited.
players.
We'd never get invited on the official channels, or we'd never get invited.
No, I'm not suggesting that.
Yeah,
but it would be...
but if you won FPL, I just couldn't see you on the pod.
Well, but this is the point, though. I think
with your shirt on, Steve-O, with your shirt and tie.
This is the point, though. Like, I keep saying this. From my personal perspective, I do find I don't really watch FPL content, and I will tune in, obviously, to various things, but I don't watch on a regular basis. I just find the same old concept of it's just so boring. Whereas a simple example with the Gameweek 39 commentary today, it was literally like listening to me and you on stream. It was just 2 blokes in Flapjack and someone else called Rich, just having a laugh with one another, commentating on a charity football match, and literally just referencing anything that they enjoy in life. And just having fun with it. And I was like, this is more enjoyable than hearing 2 really serious individuals going into such analytical detail to the point of where I'm like, I'm bored already.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you've got, I'll use 2 examples of things that one I love and one I hate. So Mark Goldbridge, I think, is absolutely fantastic. But Expressions for Tottenham, I think, is an absolute
He's going live
clown.
now on TalkSport.
That's right, yeah. I find Expressions an absolute clown, as a simple example. I get the fact that he's popular and stuff, and I understand why he's popular, but I just think he's a fucking moron.
Thank you for the kind words, FPL Scotty. Apparently, we've helped him win some money. £330 plus $23.99. Thanks to your advice. Well, not mine, probably Steve-O's.
Tell us what specifically did we help you with? Genuinely, was there a moment during the season, Scotty, where you go, Jason mentioned the fact that X player was doing really, really well, and you should bring him in, and you did, and you captained him, and he actually got you double the amount of points? As a simple example. It would be really interesting to hear if you actually have an anecdote about what Jason or myself actually, quote, advised during a stream, and you actually went through with the words of wisdom from us.
Hello, Kazali, by the way.
Yeah, good afternoon, Kazali. Obviously, on the last day, that lost guy. Good afternoon. Yeah, and I
was
just
it Kazali
find
that was it Kazali or it was Nuclear Atoms, wasn't it? Nuclear Atoms broke my heart and told me it was back Bobby for me again off.
No, it was Kazali.
Was it Kazali?
Nuclear Atoms was covering Man City, Brentford.
Oh.
Kazali was Southampton, Liverpool. Yeah. But certainly, you know, it would be amazing if me and you just did what we normally do, but one of us was, well, both of us were like 10,000th in the world or something.
Well, this season you never. Well, next season, you never know. Right, should we let's keep going through the. Let's keep going through.
Well, we haven't even finished the members the members league. So yeah,
that's
obviously
what I'm saying.
Harry
Keep going through the members league as well.
having an absolute stormer, but it was the ones below him which were kind of like fighting out between who's going to get into the top 4 and everything. And you had Marios as an example that was trying to keep pace with Harry, but ended up being 50 points essentially behind Harry. Then there was Mark Byrne. It just became extremely tight between Mark Byrne, John Harris, Natasha, who's with us here right now. Brendan Saunders is there. You got Luke Jones that's 7th. Kazali, we just mentioned there, ending up 8th. Matthew Zaishi, and then Robert Jones, 10th. So,
and then, by the way, I think if any of our community members do really well next season at the start of the season, like top 100, top 250, top 500, let's get you on. Get you on. We want to talk to you. We want to jinx you. We want to jinx you.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to jinx you. Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, we are going to try and get the call-ins back, aren't we?
We're not going to try. We are going to get the call-ins back.
Well, we're going to get the call-ins back.
So I think that's, in all seriousness, that's where you're at your best. You know, when I watched that game week 31, and you're just having this conversation with Davey and what was his name? JC. Remember JC?
Oh,
I think it was. And
yeah.
You're in your element because you're talking to others about.
I like talking about other people's teams, not about my own team. A lot of
the
time.
Which is great, which is good. As being a host, that's what you want to be doing. And certainly, I think that next season we want to crack on with that and make sure that we are bringing those call-ins back.
Do you know? Do you want to guess? You might already know the answer, but would you like to know where the top of our community league finished in the overall rankings?
Go for it.
127th.
So of all mini leagues.
Overall ranking.
The community league?
Yeah, the winner of the community league, yeah.
Ended up where, sorry?
127.
Well, I don't look at that league anyway. It's a league we don't really
no.
It's just any Tom, Dick, and Harry.
It's a lot of people that I think just join mini leagues, to be honest. But members league, should we go over that?
No, Rivals League. We've just done the members league.
Yeah, Rivals League.
Yeah, certainly the Rivals League again, where all I've got my memory of the Rivals League was how well Vince Chapman was doing, and then the last several game weeks he fell off a cliff. To the point of where I can't even see him in the. I could be completely wrong here. I can't even see him in like the top 20 of the Rivals League. You know, this is an individual who was top for God knows how long in the Rivals League, and yet he's ended up. If I try and look through here, I can't even see him, Jace.
Maybe you left.
But I'll tell you what, Jace, I'm going to say this now, and he ain't going to like it. You're a fraud than Vince, to be honest with you, along with various other... You're an absolute fraud, because there are people in this, or any community really, who they do really well. They talk about the fact that, you know, I'm Mr. Big Shot and so on and so forth. And yet, the second they fail, vanish. And I genuinely...
This is the thing. This is the thing. Like, if next season he does really well, then he'll be reminded about him, you know, him throwing in the towel. So if you're not, you know, you got to, if you're gonna gloat about doing well, then you've got to suck it up when you don't do well. Like me. I'm ready. I'm ready to celebrate a successful next season. No, I don't
Vince,
see him.
if you're out there,
Vince,
where are you?
Vince, why?
Why
Vince? Why Vince?
That's terrible. That's
shocking.
That's really poor form, Vince.
Abhorrent. That's abhorrent. Nasu, second place in the Rivals League. We talked about Marios already. It's 26-16. Nasu, of course, been a part of a community for a long time. Finished overall 6,800. Decent rank, that. Not bad, not too shabby. Well done, Nasu. And then you got the Capkin FPL. Remember him? Friend of the show. Capkin did it right.
Hold on a minute. Sorry, breaking news. Podner is saying Vince deleted his team.
What?
Why?
What? Deleted.
Why did he delete the team, Podner?
FPL Focal deleted his team as well. What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. When the fun stops. Wow. Delete your team. Wow.
Yeah, but again, I've got nothing against these people. But, like, they've got such a huge... I mean, FPL Focal's got, what? 100,000 subscribers. 1,000 people watching him live. And at the end of the season, it's just decided... delete. Because I had a crap season. Like, but where... It sounds terrible me saying this, but sometimes I think, so are you actually only doing this content because you love the fact that you're very popular, or are you doing it because you enjoy the game and want to talk about it? Now, I'd like to think that it's the latter, the former, which is I just love the game and I want to talk about it, but to delete your team, it's like, or you just like, to hell with this, I was literally, like I told you this story before, not last year, but the year before, I was literally sat on the toilet and I went, I'm going to delete my team because I can't do this. This was during the coronavirus. I can't do this anymore. I genuinely can't deal with how lucky you're getting. Completely going against me. I can't do anything right. I can't deal with streaming anymore. I'm going to delete this. And it took me, I think I even put in the WhatsApp group that me and you and Dan had briefly. I remember having it written out saying, I'm on the verge of, I'm going to be deleting my account. And I sent kind of calm down. And I was just like...
Is deleting your team because you didn't get the score you wanted almost the same as, you know, being ungrateful for a Christmas present or a birthday present because you didn't want that pair of socks? Yeah, it's almost that petulant child. It's almost that like spoiled, entitled brat attitude that you expect that you should be doing better, or you should expect you expect more, and then you overreact because of it, or is it like, or am I looking at it the wrong way?
No, I think if you take me as an example, it's like you
like,
quite rightly put. I mean, Podner's saying here, this is why I asked the question about why do we play FPL. We play it because we've been doing it for 10 years or whatever, and it's the quote, the banter between me, you, and what was the Torbay Elite.
I do it for my mental health.
Yeah, I mean,
no, don't. Yeah, I do.
But the point being is
I've got nothing else better to do. I've got nothing else better to throw my anger out on than.
I've said this 1,000 times on members' videos, and you just mentioned it about however long ago it was now today, which is once something that you've got an addiction with from a negative point of view, you've got to take a step back.
Do you want to know something, kind of what?
Oh wait a minute, that's my problem. Don't worry.
Go for it. Your internet connection's going a bit weird.
Yeah, I know, it's back again.
I think that if I didn't do Elite FPL with you, I would take a break from FPL for a year.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's the same for me. Yeah, genuinely, it's exactly the same for me.
Just to detox from it. And watch football without having to stress. Just to watch football, watch my team play, and not have to worry about, who's got him in, and what, you know, and because I haven't,
the FA Cup
unless it's or Champions League, hey, But yeah, I honestly think if I wasn't doing this channel with you, next season I'd skip it and I'd come back the season after, purely because I'd like to get a break from the whole stresses of it, of watching a game and thinking FPL. Like I watch my team or watch football thinking of FPL first, and I'm like, oh, and it can consume you, and taking a bit of a break is a good thing. But I like our rivalry. I like the community we've got. So I'm back again for some more punishment next year.
Well, this is it. I mean,
I
in
feel
all
like a punch bag.
seriousness,
I feel like I'm an FPL punch bag.
yeah. In all seriousness, it's like when this is why I deliberately, personally do history lessons into anything, whether it's wrestling, whether it's the Bill, whether it's Elite FPL. You kind of look back at them. When I watched that Gameweek 31 from 3 years ago, from the 1st of January, no, sorry, the 31st of December 2019 it was. And it was a New Year's Eve special. And we were just previewing it. And I look at it, I just go, this is really humbling. Like just seeing two mates just chatting shit about something that we enjoy playing. And then you've got individuals coming onto the Discord and being part of the YouTube, the chat and everything, just chatting along with you and
Danny
stuff.
Paul in the chat saying about you, Steve-O's Soccer Saturdays is the best thing on YouTube. No other FPL channels are doing it, but watch them copy it you next season. I mean, I don't know. But it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do, sit there and go through the games. But certainly what I would like to see with Steve-O's Soccer Saturdays is people participating with him on Discord. Get people on Discord with Steve-O when he's doing his Soccer Saturdays. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we've always made this point. I've always found it very strange that no channel, barring Andy,
don't keep saying about it.
Don't
talk about it.
Does post reactions to what's happened. Even though that's the most important thing of the game, people are so concerned about previewing and tipping the game week and everything, but when it comes to actually reacting to what's going on, there's absolutely nothing. Nothing whatsoever. I've never understood why. I know Fantasy Football Hub did it. I think they may do it for members only. I think. Is Jason still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry. Just froze your screen.
I'll read a few things out after you finished your point.
But certainly, the Soccer Saturdays they can be very, very difficult. You know, you're talking on your own for 2.5 hours, and
yeah, you just want to get out sometimes, don't you?
It happened this season regarding Tony.
It seems to happen a lot, didn't it, for you?
Yeah.
Like it's abnormally high amount of times. It just wasn't.
But what was it like for you though, as an individual?
I was loving it because a lot of the time it was just nice to see someone in pain. Like it literally is. Like you are an FPL punch bag. You are an FPL punch bag. Like, yeah, someone's gonna come up with a YouTube channel now, FPL punch bag. I thought of it first, and essentially you are your misery. People. I don't know. Take pleasure from it. Because they're going through misery as well in their FPL career or journey, I should say. So they can relate with it. They can relate with your pain, even though you hate it and you want to get off. It's quite enjoyable to watch and it's quite entertaining to watch, especially when you have some choice words to say about some of the things that happen in the games. Quite fun.
Yeah. You were going to read out a few poignant messages there in the chat.
Yeah, first of all, let's start with Firetog, and I'll start with Andre. Some people take it way too seriously. Yeah, I think a lot of people in the Elite FPL community take FPL too seriously. I've been guilty of taking it too seriously. Steve-O definitely takes it too seriously.
What does taking it too seriously actually mean?
To the point where the events that have unfolded in a virtual game have impacted your mental and psychological well-being out in the real world. And
Yeah, I guess.
I think you when you start flipping out and getting angry, I think at that point you need to like you said it in the past, look at yourself in the mirror and say, "Fucking hell, just calm down and just go sleep on it and wake up the next day and it's all gone again." But yeah, Firetog, I quit FPL in Gameweek 16 because I was having a tough time with the passing of Lily, his dog, and stocks crashing. Yes, it's been disgraceful. Bad game weeks with just an extra downer. Yeah, I mean it's talk. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit like I don't know what I don't want to draw the comparisons, but it's almost like if you go out on a night out and you're drinking alcohol and you're in a bad mood. Alcohol is a depressant, and like it can really make you down. And I guess FPL is one of those things that if you're not so good already, if you're not feeling so great anyway, and then you play FPL and FPL goes against you, God, it kicks you down. It really does. But at the same time, a lot of people, they say it's an escape. A lot of people, can take it for what it is and take the rough with the smooth and certainly not criticize themselves to the point where they're literally getting mad at themselves. Because I think everyone's had a time where we've got angry at our own decisions, but it's the amount of time you spend being angry over those decisions. And if you're spending the whole weekend being angry over those decisions, and it's filtering out into your Monday mornings, then yeah, you need to really start thinking about whether or not FPL is a game that you want to play for your mental well-being and your basically your social life. Because no game, no hobby should ever make you feel that way. But yeah, I respect that, Firetog. Lost Guy, you've got to do Mark Southerns. He just doesn't show up in the shows, but still plays the game without just dissecting every move. Yeah, he's taking a hiatus, isn't he? Combs in the chat, hello. It's your own team, do with what you want. But yeah, we say it all the time. It does seem to be weird to delete a team because you're not happy with your rank. It's a bit childish, isn't it? But again, each to their own. Each to their own. If it wasn't for the member streams, Steve-O would have left us. But I assume it's a little escape to chat and calm down. I love that. Says things that need to be said. Steve-O, if you weren't doing the member streams, would you have just quit and left us?
Mr. Reed made a point about it's not just the members' videos, but even with the Total Steve-O podcast, it's almost therapy for me. There are people, members that don't like. Yeah. It's. There are members that don't enjoy the Tesco's chat or whatever, but there are some members that love it. There are some members that don't really care about the FPL chat. There are some members that love it. And for me, it's a mixture of both. There's always context to when I talk about X, Y, and Z and why I'm feeling like I do. I always remember that video. I felt it really hard hitting when I did that graveyard video about just opening up, and you did a reaction video, a members reaction video, and it really bringing me to tears was a bit of an extreme thought process now saying it, but it almost felt like you were my therapist.
Right.
And you were just kind of like reinforcing what I'm thinking. It was just like, fuck me, there's someone actually listening. Yeah. There's finally someone actually hearing what I'm saying, rather than the usual thing that you get, which is, you take the game too seriously, whatever. It's like, no, you've got Jason that's actually understanding word for word what I'm trying to get across here. And
I think everyone in the chat, and I think everyone in the Elite, pretty much in our community, takes the game seriously.
Yes.
And we all can give each other grief and banter and but we all kind of know how each other feels. Like, we all know, and that's where the community is good. In the sense that you can have form relationships within the Discord, within the Hangouts, and you have a bit of banter, a bit of friendly banter, but everyone's been in the same boat at some point in the season. It swings around.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, the members' videos for me, it's just literally me just going click on record and just chatting about whatever's doing my head in about FPL, what I'm enjoying about FPL, what I like talking about in FPL regarding here's what I suggest that you may consider doing regarding players. If, for instance, if there's been an interesting conversation thread between X, Y, and Z in the members chat, I'll just go, well, there's no point in me writing about this. I mean, I remember one video. It was split into 2 parts that was nearly, I think it was like 2 to 2.5 hours long of just going through everything that the 2 individuals were talking about in members chat. Now, did every member enjoy that? I don't have a clue. Do people want that? I don't have a clue. But the fact that the amount of engagement that we get with the members videos, it tells me that people within reason enjoy the content, what we bring them on the members videos. And certainly for me, occasionally,
campaigns are pretty cool as well.
Yeah. And it is just for me, just like a form of
The camera
therapy where I'm
brilliant,
just getting
isn't it?
everything off my chest. Hey,
The camera quality is brilliant. Whenever I watch it back, especially outside, the lighting on a sunny day, the camera quality is brilliant on your phone.
yeah.
so when you
Harry
do this,
mentioned that as well.
Yeah,
It's very surreal that on a simple phone that the sound quality and the camera work is
it's
better
good.
than being sat where I am now in a bedroom.
Well, your lighting isn't right.
Yeah.
Lighting isn't right. So.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't even got the light on, to be fair, and I'm not going to put it on. But
Yeah, but it's the type of light and everything. It's just there's a lot that goes into it. But ultimately, Eden Hazard's been released from Madrid. Says Chatsport. Interesting. Is he off to Burnley?
we won't take him.
I think Steve-O's member videos are a highlight for a lot of people's weeks, to be honest, especially if they want to look and talk about and hear about other things in FPL.
Oh, I make this point on my other little podcast to do, the Total Steve-O podcast, where I think
plug your podcast. Steve-O does the Total Steve-O podcast, guys. Check it out. Link on Twitter.
Yeah.
At Total Steve-O.
It's coming from a real person. Like, I've been listening, because I'm doing overnight work, I'm listening to lots of podcasts, and there's a guy, you may have heard of him, called James English, and he spends 99.9% of his time either talking to former gangsters, hooligans, prison officers, and so on and so forth, people in the dark underworld. Fair enough, that's fine. Well, I've been listening to episodes about porn stars, and I find it fascinating hearing how far a porn star has to go before they feel relevant. And I'm thinking,
my initial thoughts are, I would have thought the porn star industry is dying now, right?
No, it's getting better in the sense of they can now monetize it through OnlyFans.
Okay.
The actual direct industry,
right?
Yeah,
it's all going. It's
like music
now. It's all becoming themselves, aren't they? Their own bosses. Yeah.
It's exactly like the music industry. The music industry is dead in the sense of regarding the selling of the product, and now bands are literally stood on stage with their head down, like embarrassed to say,
Harry Katona's ex-boyfriend.
Can you buy our merch, because no one's buying our CDs because Spotify's ruined the whole market. But anyway, with when you listen into these interviews with these porn stars, all like large YouTube content creators, the actual digging deep into them as a person is fascinating, but none of them live in the real world. None of them are like me or you, where they've got a family, but in reality they could actually just quit their job and they'd be fine for the rest of their lives. People like me and you have to work 40 to 45 hours a week. We have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we've got to do overnight shifts, or we've got to do a job where it's literally manual labor, and we're the music industry.
I think, Harry Hiroki, the music industry isn't dead. The record companies are making vast profits, but I think in terms of the music industry, in terms of independent artists are being throttled. Like, independent artists right now are just it's not easy.
This is what I'm trying to get at. It's because the larger, let's just take YouTube as an example, because the larger channels have got all this money that they can pump into advertising and promoting. People watch this stuff and they go, oh, that's what it must be like in the real world. It's like, no, it's not. These people don't work in Tesco's for 10 hours a day. Excuse the terminology, John, but back-breaking work where you're causing yourself genuine injuries for what? picking up 20-kilogram crates of potatoes over and over and over
Just to pay the rent.
just to pay the rent. Someone like I always use Eddie Hall as a prime example of a fascinating case study of an individual who's got such crazy psychological dysfunction, because it's like you're at the peak of your industry, yet you still feel the need to sell your soul to feel relevant. It's dark, because these huge celebrities are now competing with your normal everyday person who's getting more views, more hits. And I just think to myself, but you're Eddie Hall. You're
I
the
saw
world.
a video of Eddie Hall opening up a container.
It's ridiculous.
Did you see it? With a
I
tank?
didn't, because I just don't care.
No,
It's just
I thought it was
pathetic.
quite interesting.
Yeah, but this is the
Anyway.
point. For a casual fan like yourself that sees this thumbnail and
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah, I
if I
don't
was to
watch his
ask you, do
content,
you actually
but-
know about Eddie Hall's background and everything?
No.
You're probably going to say no. No, exactly, no.
I know he's a bodybuilder, but
Yeah, he's a strong man. Yeah, he was a strong man. Yeah. And it's actually quite interesting, the
That's
story.
about-
but
I know that from just reading up about it or whatever, but I never
Yeah.
watched it or anything like that.
But for a video to be promoted on YouTube, which is of Eddie Hall opening up a container, and I already saw that it had more views than
It was
any other
massive.
video that he
Yeah,
does.
yeah. It was interesting though, because it was like what's inside the container, and it was opening up safes and things like that. And you're like, oh, what's in the safe? And it is quite interesting, and people are nosy, aren't they? We're curious animals, so
Yeah, of course, yeah. But someone like him doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to do this.
No.
It's completely unnecessary for this
something.
guy to do it. And this is why, like, people like me and you, when we talk about the real world actually relates with us. Like, I'm not going to name an individual, but an individual has unfortunately left Elite FPL because of something that happened to them halfway through the season. But they kept telling us that your videos helped me through my own personal situation, because I relate with what you're going through so much. Like the garbage that I talk about regarding Tesco's, we can all laugh about it, but it's just the truth. But if I'm like a really large, like I always use this fucking Mike Thurston as an example, a complete fucking cunt. He seems to think that he's like a normal everyday person. It's like, mate, you live in Abu Dhabi, you fucking go to Ibiza every other week. You get sent all these various sponsorships and stuff, and you think that you can relate with people like me and Jason and every other person that watches your stuff. What are you on about? What are you talking about? And when they talk about like, oh yeah, it's great, like I get to go to parties and stuff, it doesn't mean like a house party, like in a little small semi-detached house in London, or more to the point, a terrace flat or whatever. No, he's talking about a private mansion where some fucking sponsorship has gone, yeah, we'll just pay for all your drinks and everything, just turn up at this address. But he thinks that that's normal. These people don't live in the real world. It's really, really...
The real
really
world. Tune in for Steve-O's new
ridiculous.
podcast, The Real World with Steve-O.
But the point I'm
Into
trying to
the
get at
real...
is that-
Discover the real world by a total Steve-O podcast.
But the real world is working in a shop or working on
Reality.
a building site or doing a job like you do behind a computer for 6 hours,
My
doing
knees
whatever
are
you need
fucked
to
for
do
doing
regarding
that.
graphic design, or someone doing a trucker job, or whatever other working class industry you can think of. Working in an industry where quite literally you're getting paid everything, and it goes back all the way back to the FA Cup final and what you were saying about these prima donnas, these Man United players that just like, whatever. Whatever.
They just turn up, they get paid for whether they win, lose, or draw.
Yes. Yeah, there's no consequence.
There's no consequence. I mean,
What's the consequence to Marcus Rashford not performing?
Yeah.
Nothing. Garnacho.
I'm sure. I'm sure that they really like. I'm sure some of the players, they do have a hunger to win. Don't get me wrong. But
Yes.
But as soon as they see other teammates not putting the effort in, I think a lot of them down tools, and I think they just throw tantrums, don't they, on the pitch?
But when you listen to podcasts with
Fernandes.
footballers and they open up and they just pretty much just say it's a job, It's just a job.
Yeah.
I don't really
yeah.
care for Man United. I don't care for Huddersfield.
They're almost like
I don't care for
what
Burnley.
they're called, like what are they called for guns for hire.
Mm.
They're like mercenaries. That's what basically what they are.
Yes. Especially when you've got like a teenager who's been signed at the age of 15, and straight away it's like, yeah, we're going to give you 10 grand a year. You're not going to play for Man United. You'll be shipped out to some league, to some conference team. See how you do down there, and if you do all right, we'll send you out to League 2, then League 1. Then if you're doing really well there, you'll get a jump to the Championship. And by the time you're 21, 22, you'll get to sit on the subs bench at Old Trafford. By which point you're on 50 grand a week, but you're only 22. What? Like, again, could you imagine that if that happened with us? Someone just goes, I'm just going to pay you 50 grand a week to do this. At that point, I'm like, I literally don't care anymore. I don't. There's no worth to what I'm doing this for. It's just, let's just do some fantasy football tips and that's it. Let's not show any emotion.
We'll do some giveaways.
But could you imagine though if someone came to us and said, I'll give you 5 grand a week, but you are not allowed to swear. You are not allowed to talk about Tesco's. You're not allowed to talk about your graphic design job. You're not allowed to talk to your family. You can't show any emotion. You just got to straight down the line.
Yeah. You got to put on a You got to put in you got to be a robot.
Yeah. It's why your conversation with Max was so fascinating with the AI. I found that more enthralling than anything.
AI guys is gonna come for your jobs. It's gonna come for for pretty much every aspect of your life. It's scary, man. It's not far away either, and it's gonna come for your relationships as well. That'll be the next thing. So yeah, it's all rosy outside. The sun's shining. Don't worry, everybody. Enjoy your life while you can. Yeah.
Weren't we talking about mini leagues before this?
Yeah. I need to get going in a minute because I've got some food to put on, but because I've been out, you see.
Well, we'll finish up with the Royal Rumble League.
Yes.
Because we've gone through. Well, I say gone through. We've done Monorail League, YouTube Chat League, Members League, Rivals League, and now the Royal Rumble League. How did that all start, Jason? This was kind of like your creation, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Rumble was certainly. We're still getting videos on Rumble. We're getting a few hits on there. People do watch on Rumble. Rumble is again going to be something which, along with Kick, that we stream to next season. But Rumble's got a really awkward and clunky live dashboard that I haven't figured out yet. So in order to go live on there, I need to work it out. But yeah, Rumble was a chance for people starting in Game Week 11 for people to have a late start at trying to compete, and we did have, we did have some names that were winning and coming high up in the Rumble League. So we've got some names that we recognise, some names that we don't necessarily recognise here. Ronald O'Hen, I don't know who that is. I don't know if you can help me on this one. Team name is No In Team. I don't know who this is, but they came top. That's really good, isn't it? It's really good. Set this one up, but don't know who won it. So who is it? It's Infamous. Oh, it's Infamous. Oh yeah, Discord Cup, Steve-O. You can talk about that.
Yeah, we'll be going through that in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve-O wants to talk about that one. Oh, it's Infamous. Ah, okay. I'll make a mental note of that one then. Infamous. Arsenal fan. Okay. Makes sense. But yeah, Infamous wins the Rumble League. What's that there? He's in another one called Rumble in the Jungle. Then we got Seb Long, Koulibaly coming second. Well done to you, Seb. Not bad. Finishing. Where's that in overall ranking? 35,000. I'll take that. I'll be happy with 35,000. Very, very good. Then we got Matthew Ezeashi in third place, finishing overall rank of 70. Was that 78,400? Yeah. Nice. These ranks are brilliant. Really good ranks, guys. We've talked about Harbour Boy. We've got David Long, True Blues, coming fifth. He ended the season on a free hit. He only got 44.
Well, didn't size just end up miserably?
Yeah, it was a rubbish week to free hit, wasn't it? Really. But overall ranking, 200k is all right. It's all right. Build upon that. What did I finish at actually? My overall ranking.
Well, I pretty much finished at
370
almost exactly.
348. Right.
Yeah, I pretty much finished at exactly 250k. It was really bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow. Oh wow. Discord Cup, Steve, go for it.
Yeah, we'll just quickly go through the various other leagues and, well, more specific tournaments that were set up. So I've got it written all down here. So here we go. The Discord Cup was actually won by FPL Maestro. I believe he beat Harry in the semi-finals across the two, I believe it was. And yeah, it was something that, I'm not going to lie, we didn't really focus on much last year, but certainly next year we're going to put a lot more effort into the big leagues, and more specifically the Discord Cup. But congratulations to FPL Maestro. In the Elimination League, Michael Svedin. In the Doubles League, we had KBD 17 and Bruno for the Ballon d'Or. The score predictor, Maestro actually finally beat Lino. Jace, Lino was knocked off his top spot by Maestro.
Yeah.
Which is just extraordinary. I know Lino did put a
very clever man when it comes to predictions, when it comes to monitoring football, and if you're going to knock someone off top spot, then that's the one you want to knock off. Yeah.
So congratulations to Maestro. In the Elite Fan Tracks Division 1, all these, I don't have a clue. It was Bilal. El Mako won the Elite Fan Tracks Division 2. The Elite Fantasy Draft was won by Harbour Boy. The King of the Hill was won by JC. Again, this is all Discord tournaments.
Community tournaments.
Yeah, these are all set up by Gabriel De Rock and the various moderators involved. By the
way, Gabriel De Rock, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. The Moderator Cup was run by Armand Dillon. The Rivals Cup was run by Kazali. The Members Cup was won by me. The YouTube Chat Cup was run by John Harris. The Royal Rumble Cup by David Long. And the Elimination Cup won by Nasu. You didn't win anything, Jace.
They get a participation trophy.
You can make one yourself.
Oh, okay.
Give it to yourself.
Yeah. That's the world we live in now, isn't it? Okay. I think on that note, I need to wrap it up. So we will be back after.
Well, we're having a break, aren't we? In all seriousness,
we'll be back next season. I've got bitten by something earlier on. We will be back next season. We'll have a new look to the FPL. We'll have a new schedule probably, and then certainly have a new format for some of our shows. We're definitely going to be getting the calling back, and certainly, if you've got any bright suggestions or ideas, feel free to put them in the Discord under the think tank. Stay being awesome, guys. Look out for the members' videos when they do come. Obviously, Stevo's gonna have a break now. I'm gonna go off grid for a little while. I've got a festival next month that I'm playing, and
wow.
It's I'm very nervous about it.
Is it like a local festival or something in the area?
It's in Gloucester, which is the next place.
Oh,
so I'm gonna be playing in front of about 400 to 450 people. And we're not headlining it, but we're playing between 7:40 and 8:10 in the so it's going to be interesting. I'm very nervous.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because when I joined the band, I was joining the band as only the singer, but now I'm having to play guitar. It's made me very nervous.
A lot of practice is going to be involved in this.
Very much, very much a lot of practice. So I've got a month and basically a month to get my ass in gear. So wish me luck, everybody, and it'll probably be a video or two circulating from the festival, hopefully. So
good. I will say this as well, that look, it will be quiet from Elite FPL from us for a while, but I think something will probably happen when the fixtures are announced. And was it June the 16th or something like that? It's ridiculous. I'm sure we may do something then. But yeah, just want to say thanks everybody for
Thank you so much.
tuning in. Yeah, just listening
Thank you
into.
for the support, all the members. Thank you so much, all the community that keeps us going. And yeah, don't be strangers. See you on Discord. And yeah, take care.
Yeah.
Wave, Steve.
That was a wave. That was a
Bye-bye.
finger wave.
Bye,
Oh
guys.
yeah, I'll
Oh.
be getting my picture printed as well from Nuclear Atoms. It'll be
Oh, there we go.
We'll be going there.
Go. See, he does care. See you now.
Thought I saw you on the road.